Hello YouTube, and here's another one in our Blitz League series. This one will be Blue-Black Mill. We did take the feedback. We've got that all kind of cataloged. We saw people that really liked my analytics throughout the entire league. Some liked the Twitch interactions, and others did enjoy the 20 minutes or so of content that was just very quick and easy to consume. So with that, I don't have anything during the league being recorded for audio. However, I do have the raw footage. I may do some post-editing and add some just general things and talking through the plays as they were played out. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and record this one that you're seeing right now. If you don't want the spoilers, and we do have that one up, I'll link it. It'll be on the screen. So click that for no spoilers and watch the full league. Otherwise, though, sit back, relax, enjoy Blue-Black Mill Blitz League here in Modern. Blue-Black Mill here in Modern. We're going to go ahead and play this. We do fairly well as well throughout the entire league. We'll give our recaps as the game plays. And yeah, let's see how things turn out for us. We'll kind of recap what all goes on here. We'll have to also see if we can remember what's going on with our opponents. We have what appears to be Burn or a Prowess deck. And seeing the Steamkin, we definitely see the Prowess. So the easy Fatal Push to keep our life total. We have the Drown the Lock with the idea that I'm going to be able to kill something else or counter it. And so we're going to be battling here between our opponent and us just to see what we can get done. Luckily, we have the Bounce Land, the Palace in the Sky, along with our Hedron Crab. And with this, we're able to chain some loops of milling our opponent. And we end up actually seeing a... Seeing a Bedlam Reveler. We know this is probably one of the biggest things that could kill us, and we're able to surgical that away. We did have a little bit of a mishap there with our Bounce Land and the Crabs, but we finally get that kind of situated, get a Search for his Kanta down, and now we're just playing, can we mill them out fast enough before they kill us? We do see a surgical here, and what I'm doing with the surgical is I'm looking for what is the card they have the most of. And we figured it's Lightning Bolt here in the deck, so it mills them too. But it also gives us that opportunity to reduce how many cards they're going to be able to burn us out with. We're going to just repeat this Palace in the Clouds kind of interaction here. We decide Mission Briefing's worth it enough to possibly mill them out. We can't quite counter here because we don't have the blue and the black. You can see I'm trying to debate here what I would like to do and what I want to take. So we go ahead and surgical, and I've decided that, if I recall, Lava Spike is pretty good. We hit another 2 cards here. Everything's looking fine. We're sitting at 8. Got the Lava Spikes and the Lightning Bolts out. And our opponent top decks the Burst Lightning. So at this point, I've realized we've got a bit of an issue. And if you figured it out, you understand what's going on. We have this glimpse of the unthinkable. We decide to go ahead and mill them, and then we have this weird interaction where I actually know there are 4 lava darts, so I don't fire off the glimpse of the unthinkable. We're trying to find some nuance here where I can go ahead and get this last little bit here. They're able to Manamorphose, crash through, they're able to find that last lava dart here. We're looking for some sort of counter. I know we don't really have one, and my opponent's actually able to lava dart us out. 0 cards left in the Prowess deck. We almost had it. Collective Brutalities, Crypt Incursions, and Snaring Bridges here. We just want to block them. We want to take all their creatures away. See what we can do. Damnation and Bantus, maybe for that Bedlam Reveler if we don't quite get it immediately. Initial hand looks great, and we're actually really thankful that they don't land a creature immediately. And top decking a Mesmeric Orb, we know this can really help mill out pretty quickly, so we decide to do this along with the Glimpse the Unthinkable. And now we're just trying to fill the graveyard enough that Crypt Incursion becomes valuable. So we've decided, hey, let's go ahead and Inquisition them. We get to see the hand. My opponent's got 1 land. They're working off just 1, so that's really nice for us. We have an easy Crypt Incursion coming up here, although they're really trying to kill us here, and they do put us to 2. The graveyard's full enough, though, that we do get to Visions. We've got this kind of Mesmeric Orb, and we got a Crypt Incursion that we can use. Probably should have waited until the Mesmeric Orbs made them mill a little bit more, but at the same time, we didn't want them to untap with the Lava Darts, so a nuance there that we needed to avoid. Extirpate's really nice against Lava Dart, by the way, because they don't get to flash them back. So here we're kind of in this interesting position where I get to extirpate the Lava Darts. We have only 20 so cards to go here. We have 10 life. We can play a blocker. We basically just got to get enough here that when they attack or tap out, it would mill them for enough. We pick off one thing here. We got the Field of Ruins. We can go after the Raminot Ruins if we'd like to. It's not really targetable here because they do have enough mana. We're able to bounce that Palace once again, and we've got enough here, and they can't close the door on us. So I don't recall if I made any swaps there. We got a reasonable hand here. We've got the Collective Brutality. We've got a Dark Click, Drown the Lock. We top deck a Fatal Push, which is fabulous here. My opponent's got just one creature. We're going to be able to remove this with the Collective Brutality. Probably pitching maybe even the Polluted Delta at this point because we have a lot of good things. I think we go with the Drown, though, kind of one of these, I'm going to take something here. We take the Light Up the Stage. The Runaway Steamkin's not really too much of a problem here because they don't have too much after this. Double Lava Spike will be quite a bit of damage, and the Steamkin. So we decide to play a bridge. This way they attack with everything. The Mesmeric Orb's that much better for us right here. And their Steamkin is too big. They are able to play a Crash Through, though, and then shrink their Steamkin. So we're going to be battling back and forth a little bit with our opponent here. Burst Lightning, the Lava Darts, they're coming in for 3. We're down to 1. So we definitely need to fire off this Crypt Incursion to get just a little bit of life. We've got about 3-ish things here. We do decide to hedge our bet here at upkeep because they have nothing in hand. There's no Lava Darts. A little risky in case they would have topped a Lava Dart, but we decide 1 or 2 extra life is probably the difference between this game. Find another Mesmeric Orb. My opponents decided Lava Dart and Light Up the Stage, trying to find something. They pretty much know that they're in dire straits here. We're going to take their Abrades so they can't get rid of my bridge. They can't get rid of my Mesmeric Orbs. In order to kill me, they've got to tap out, and we've got a good chance of finding some final mill there. And we do take it, which is pretty big. We brought it back from 1 life, taking down our Prowess? I would call it a Prowess deck there. We saw Soulscar Mage and Swift Spear. Very tight game, a good one to start off the league, though. Excellent stuff. All right, so this one we got Archive Trap. We have Surgical Extraction. We're kind of hoping my opponent fetches. They do. They Inquisition us, so we're going to go ahead and Archive Trap and immediately Surgical. We end up getting an Archmage Charm, which is really nice here. We're on what appears to be a Whir, blue-black kind of deck. I take a quick screenshot there just to grab what our opponent's library looks like here. Or not library, sorry, their hand, because Surgical doesn't keep that. We go ahead and shock in the Watery Grave just to feign like some sort of counter. Opponent's got a Mystic Sanctuary here. They're going to get back their Whir, which is kind of nice for us because we have the Whir in the graveyard and we have a Surgical. So at this point, I think I'm going to go ahead and take care of a land. We're going to Glimpse. We can put the Surgical into the bin. We can Archive Trap them because they searched. I had the option of Surgical, but we know that the Whir was on top, so the field got rid of that. So we're in great shape there. My opponent finds Engineered Explosives off the top and gets to put another card on top of their library, which happens to be a Whir. They attack for a little bit. They're definitely going to blow up my Mesmeric Orb here. They make me mill first, though. So they're at 16 cards. I Shell Dock. I do not find too much here, but I do find a Mesmeric Orb, which is really kind of a good, hey, once they attack me, we're in good shape. We Glimpse them. They're going to go down to 5 here. They're going to tap out here to try to do something with Urza. They find a Thopter Foundry, which is really good, but they don't have another artifact here, which is, like, fingers crossed, really good for us. Being all tapped out, though, it's an easy Shell Dock. Bring in the Mesmeric Orb. Having 4 cards left, my opponent's basically out of options here, and they're completely tapped out, so they're going to mill themselves. At this point, we've won this one. My opponent tries to do, I think, the Thopter Foundry here, then realizing they can't sacrifice the Construct and start that. Decks. Opponent's deck is very much graveyard-centric. We're going to bring in Bridges as well. Ashiok, Extirpates, just this whole nuance of things to target definitely the graveyard. Opening hand has things to deal with the graveyard, which I'm really excited about, but then we have the Field of Ruin. My opponent does search here and does play an Emery. This is helping our game plan, so we go ahead and go after it more. We end up top decking another surgical. So at this point, we're able to take whatever we want, take a look at what they have in their hand, and then take whatever else we want. In this case, I don't really care about the counters. I decide I'm going to just take their win conditions here. And with that, my opponent's done with us. Moving on, we take the win. Pretty nice when you have the Emery just helping us. We have the Archive Trap, and then we just have pretty much all the options in the deck. Easy to just snag whatever it is that their win condition is. Make it so they have very minimal things they can play. All right, our next opponent is Brett K from the chat. Every now and then we see Brett K. We had a little conversation here before the match began here. They asked us if we were playing something spicy or something. They were kind of worried about a Blood Moon, and then we lead with the Swamp. So we're in a little bit of a pickle here. Initially, we see our Shriekhorn, our Archive Traps aren't going to be too good, but at least we get the Surgical. We notice that their hand only has blood, the Ox and the Bloodghast, so that's really good for us. No reason to really go after them with this Inquisition at this point. We're just fingers crossed that they're not going to mill anything too crazy here. Deciding whether to Archive Trap after the Wooded Foothills, we opt not to because we don't want to fuel anything, especially being on one land. And this is probably a pivotal point in the game. We're not really sure if we're going to be able to close this one out, but we're going to give it our best shot. So again, not glimpsing. We're trying to save up all of this as best as we can. We have the Search for Escanta down just to help us dig for maybe some sort of answer here. Looking for our Surgicals at this point. If we can Surgical and then Hedron Crab or Archive Trap, we'd be in really good shape. Opponent gets their Bloodghast down. They get their Ox. They're fueling their graveyard. They're going crazy with Narcomoebas, Creeping Chills. This is looking pretty bad for us. I don't know if we've got really much here. Opponent does have 24 cards. We have a Search for Escanta. We bend this. And so we have a Glimpse, Inquisition. At this point, they're at 24 cards. I can kind of go after them a little bit and hope that they mill out enough. We go ahead and Inquisition them, Inquisition Hedron Crab, and at this point we know we have enough here. We double Archive Trap them to make them go to 0. And that last fetch from our opponent was not necessary. They had it in the bag, but they went ahead and fetched, and that gave us that win. So got a little lucky there against Dredge. I'll take it. Crypt Incursions, Ashioks, and other graveyard interaction here. Surgical Extraction is pretty good. So immediately our opponent's doing the Shriekhorn thing. We have the Surgical. We end up getting the Extirpate here, which is really nice. We can interact with a lot of these. We decide to start here with just a Surgical, leaving Extirpate up in case we have something like a Cathartic Reunion or something else immediate. And it pays off immediately here. So we get to prevent this. We do get a Bloodghast into play, but I can play the Ashiok. I can clear the graveyard. We're in great shape. They're only going to be able to hit Ashiok once here with the Bloodghast. They're going to try to refuel here, which is great for us because we can Glimpse followed by the Ashiok. We end up drawing an Archive Trap, so I'm doing the math here. I can actually get rid of something, Archive Trap, Glimpse, and Ashiok here. So we do all of the above, and we basically blow them out of the water here, taking everything and finishing the game pretty solid there with a big, what was that, mill for about 28 or so at the end. So taking down Brett K. Brett K, if you see this, leave a comment. It was a pleasure to see you in the online matches. Dredge is an interesting matchup. You just need to protect yourself just enough, and the Dredge opponent plus our own stuff is going to help finish that game out as best as we can. All right, this deck has a little Archive Trap, a little removal, counters, a nice milling card. We're looking happy with this. And opponents is an Emery deck. We get to Archive Trap them immediately. We have the Fatal Push off of the Prismatic Vista here, and we can basically just leave them with nothing. They have 3 cards here. They had milled, not a whole lot going on. We do see a Euro here, so it's a little different than the other blue-black list that we saw earlier. We're going to leave Drown the Lock open in case they landed a land, and then Gilded Goose here. Get the Shelldock Isle, get to put an Archive Trap underneath. We're going to try to take Euro here. If they counter it, this is fine. We can prevent the counter with Drown the Lock and take probably a good win condition here. Noting they don't have too many, and we take a glance there, there's Emery's and just a couple other things that we have to worry about, Urza specifically. Mesmeric Orb here, opponent's at 31 cards. They do have to Archmage Charm here. We get to play the other orb, which is pretty brutal to them at this point. We have a Crypt Incursion. We have the Shelldock Isle almost offline. We end up toppy decking a Glimpse. At this point, we've probably milled enough that I can Crypt Incursion and just win out the game. We're planning to do the Shelldock Isle here. My opponent Cryptics, so we're in good shape here. We can just go ahead and take the rest of their deck. They tried to pop the Mesmeric Orb. No can do, though. Not much to talk about here. Very similar to the blue-black Whir list. Going after the graveyard, and we'll just focus on where we got here. So here's an interesting one here. We have double archive and a surgical extraction, and I decided to keep a no-lander here. I would never recommend this. Let's just talk to that. And then my first land here is a Field of Ruin. We're hoping they're going to fetch and then grab something. And they don't. So they've kind of probably figured out what we have. They lead with an Urza here on turn 4, you know, casually. We do get to Collective Brutality, which is nice. We get to clear the construct, get to check out the hand. And they have some Galvanic Blasts and the Bobble. So we're in okay shape. Haven't been hit yet. They don't have much going on. They end up top decking another Urza here. And so a little bit worried, but hey, let's go for it. We get the Glimpse. We get to take a look at what they've got going on. I snag a Euro here. We know they have the 2 Galvanic Blasts. So we have 2 Galvanic Blasts and about maybe 4-ish damage hitting us every turn. They spin the wheel with an Urza getting an Emery. So here, I have the ability to double Archive Trap them and Drown in the Lock because I'm able to play the Polluted Delta down and use the Field of Ruin. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We know the 2 cards are Galvanic Blast. We double blast them here. We can Drown the Lock, and then they only have 2 more turns after this. Mathematically, this should be all fine. We don't want them to recycle something with the Emery, and so we're going to go ahead and make sure we take the minimal amount of damage here. No, we're going to be hit for about 3 damage. If they have like 2 artifacts left, maybe they've got something going on here, but we have the Visions of Beyond to find something else that will hopefully mill them for the last couple, and 2 Galvanic Blasts that are not doing 4 because of Metalcraft not being online is really good. Not to mention the other nuance here that stripping them of the red from the Steam Vents, not having a Gilded Goose and not having an Astrolabe in play, they can't cast Galvanic Blast. Opponent decides to attack us. Gonna see what we top deck. We get a Shelldock. We actually hit nothing here. But lucky for us, we are able to put just a Hedron Crab underneath, but they have 1 card left. They're hitting me for 3. Obviously, it's not something that can help them out, and we take that one down. That mill, that exact red mana that we took, all very important in that game. But I think mill's pretty well suited against this kind of milling Euro style deck, so maybe a favored matchup. All right, so we're clearly 4-0 here at this point, looking to get our 5-0. Fingers crossed. We can hope that we can do that. We had some nail biters at the beginning, so this win would be nice. Hand looks relatively good. We have a Collective Brutality, removal for a sorcery or instant or creature. We have an Archive Trap, and we've got a Hedron Crab ready to go. Stomping Ground for our opponent, just lead with a Hedron Crab. They bolt our crab, so we know what's up. It's a bit of maybe a Ponza deck. Opponent has 2 lands here, no follow-up, so we decide to leave Drown the Lock open. They end up not getting it. We're able to Archive Trap, take a look at what's going on, and it is clearly just Ponza. So at this point, I do a Collective Brutality to see what the heck is going on here, and notice that, hey, they've got some Magus of the Moon. We're well protected from that. We can go ahead and take the God of Destiny because this is the card that will probably hurt us the most, and a lot of things are 3 or 4 drops afterwards. We can leave up Drown the Lock as well, and that way we can counter just about anything. They get a Utopia Sprawl. I'm pretty good to go ahead and just take care of that. They fail to find their lands. We're able to crab. We're able to glimpse. We're able to do a lot of these things just to set up a nice big Crypt Incursion. I don't really care what they put on 3 at this point. It happens to be something I can kill. We have something we can counter. We can Crypt Incursion to just gain up to 60 life. And with 8 cards remaining, even if they were to play, say, Bloodbraid Elf into Seasoned Pyromancer into a Glory Bringer. There's just no way they're coming back from that. Deck is a little bit different than a few things we've seen today, but Ensnaring Bridge, Damnation, Bantus, Crypt Incursion, we want to mill them out. We want to take care of a lot of the creatures. We want to be able to hide behind a bridge. And so we get an Archive Trap here after a fetch. My opponent looks like they might play a Blood Moon. They happen to play a bunch of creatures here instead, just trying to go wide, pump out a lot of mana here with the Arbor Elves. We have a Bloodbraid Elf. They end up hitting a Relic, which actually hurts our visions a little bit here, but we're not too worried. We've got our Mesmeric Orb to put down. We have the Drown the Locks to do some removal. We're going to go ahead and mill them out a whole bunch because they have to tap a lot to put in threats. Lose our Hedron Crab, but we're looking okay. We have 19 cards to get through. We end up top decking a Bantus, a Fatal Push, and a Drown the Lock. What's interesting here is the Glory Bringer is tapped down. We decide to let everything untap and then go ahead and hit the Scoos with the Fatal Push, and at worst we could counter something with the Drown the Lock. They go in for 2 damage here. We decide to go ahead and take care of the Glory Bringer. At this point they boil us, which is kind of terrifying, but because they're untapping so many things, it's milling them for potentially enough. We top deck a land. This is our removal that we need. We need them to somehow attack me, and then we'd win, but they end up actually just tapping out at this point. We have the Bantus, we have the Drown the Lock to protect ourselves. We get the 5-0. We win it here with Blue-Black Mill. Blue-Black Mill. I can see why some of you might say it's a little fast-paced. We'll give it a shot at the post-editing of the other one. If you've already checked into that, thank you for watching either of these. As always, like and subscribe, and we'll see you for maybe next week with Blitz League. Maybe a bit modified. Maybe I can find a way to blend the two. We want to keep the time stamp down for this one so it's a little faster to consume. We did get some good retention there, so thank you for watching and providing that feedback. Remember, the channel and the stream only get better with feedback from you, from our Twitch chat, from your Twitter posts. So thank you, and have a good weekend. We'll see you in the next stream or in the next video. Take care.